and envelop me. And that day I learned. I said, take it. You've already taken half my body. Why not just take the rest? The emotions are going to come up. You're not going to apologize for them. And I invite all of you to never apologize for your emotions either, because emotions are what separate us from animals. Emotions are not something to be ashamed of. Emotions should be shown, should be on the exterior, because when we keep it on the inside, our body will eventually show it to us. When I fell into this depression, I became mean-being. I didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to be the girl in the wheelchair. I didn't want to be the girl who everybody felt sorry for. I didn't want to be the girl who now, as an Indian woman, is a disgrace to my family, brings shame upon my family, because that's what my culture says. If you are not perfect, you are ashamed. If your body does not work, you are shameful. And I had to unwrap all of these things. I stayed in this depression for a few months. And while I was in it, I ate everything in sight. I no longer had alcohol as a crutch. I was still going to therapy. I still go to therapy to this day. I think everybody in this world needs a good therapist. But I still needed something to make me feel better. And it turns out that it was Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches. I probably ate like 200 in 3 months, I'm not lying. The way I got out of this darkness was a perspective shift. And maybe today, I'll get to be that perspective shift for some of you. And I take that title with honor. The girl who gave me this perspective shift was a high-level quadriplegic. She got into a car accident with a moose. And we all know the moose always wins. She broke her neck very high up. She sat there, unable to move anything except her head, and as her mom fed her lunch, she said to me, "I'd be happy if I could move an effing finger." Whoa. In that second, in my head, I said, "Bean, you're not allowed to feel sorry for yourself anymore." In that moment, I went from being sad about what I had lost, and I had lost so much, to being grateful for what I have. And these, my hands, I am grateful for every single day. Not a day has gone past since that day that I've taken my hands, my mobility, my eyesight, my hearing, my sense of smell, my sense of taste, my life for granted. I spent 30 years taking everything for granted, thinking my legs would always be there to stand me up. I would always be doing kickboxing. I was going to have the strongest roundhouse kick, running the stairs in the river valley for fun, until it was gone. The gift of gratitude changed my life, and it was this beautiful woman who gave me that gift. She is the most incredible mouth painter you will ever come across. First of all, to see her set up with a paintbrush in her mouth is wildly inspiring. And then to see her artwork, I should have put a picture in here actually. It's incredible. That's the will of the human spirit. If she can do that, I got nothing to complain about. Yeah, sure, my bowel and bladder don't work like they used to. Sure, I have a lot of spasticity, and sure, I gotta wheel around everywhere I go. But at least I get to. This question always plagued me, though, and I'm sure a lot of you can resonate as well when you're going through something. Why me? What the hell did I do to deserve this? Why am I sitting in this wheelchair? Well, it would take me 4 years to get the answer to this question. Why me? Well, it turns out that I was actually paralyzed on purpose. I was paralyzed so that I could open Renew Paralysis Recovery Center here in Edmonton. other families and groups had tried opening an activity-based therapy center here in Edmonton, but it just never took off. And that's why I know that this was my purpose. ReU is a nonprofit organization where we use activity-based therapies to reconnect the brain to the body, retrain the nervous system, and most importantly, redefine what's possible for people with disabilities. Neurorecovery is real. Many people think that once you have a brain injury or a spinal cord injury, what you got is what you got. Good luck. Good luck living the rest of your life. That's false. 100% false. Neurorecovery is possible and it does happen. I am living proof of that. I have retrained my whole body. I now drive my car with my foot. As you can see. I drive my car with my foot. One day I'm going to drive a standard again. You better believe it. Yeah. I hate driving automatic. It's so boring. There's so much you can do. And that's why we wanted to bring this here to Edmonton. So really quickly, our main program of activity-based therapy has four pillars. Active assistance exercises, core, weight-bearing, and gait training. To have a proper ABT session at ReU, all four of these components need to be in that 1 hour session. It takes a lot of focus work from our clients. That's the active assistance part. Passive range of motion is where somebody else takes your arm or leg and moves it all around for you. Active assistance is where the client has to think about it. The client has to initiate it. Whether they can feel, whether they can move or not, that doesn't matter. You have to think about it. That's how your brain and your body connect. And all the other components are, everything studied, everything scientifically proven, everything is evidence-based that we do. And we have had to fight uphill from the day that we opened because nobody believed in our business. Because nobody believed in neurorecovery. So we had to fight, and fight we did. And we're coming up on 9 years strong, over 500 clients. Many people walking again. 7 little kids who have taken their first steps in our building after their parents being told they're never going to sit up, they're never going to roll over, they're never going to crawl. So now when we hear that word never, we say, ha-ha, challenge accepted. Because let me show you what the human will can do. What's different about ReU is this. We choose to see the potential in everybody who walks, rolls, or dances through our doors, and we refuse to talk about limitations. In the healthcare system, all they talk about is limitations. Every healthcare clinic I've been at, the first question I get asked is, okay, go ahead and tell me your limitations. So now let me ask you, if once a week you were asked to think about all the things you can't do, how would you feel about yourself? Would you feel good? Would you feel motivated? You'd feel sad. You'd feel depressed. You'd feel worthless. You feel like a burden. You feel like you're not wanted here. You feel like you don't belong. And that's not what we want. When we talk about inclusion, we talk about belonging. We need to stop talking about limitations, and we need to start talking about potential. So at ReU, I don't care about your limitations. I want to know, what can you do? What do you want to do? And how can we help you do it? Because that motivation, that's what's going to keep you coming back. That's what's going to help you get out of bed every single day, get dressed, brush your teeth, do your daily activities, and get out the door. Because let me tell you, life with a disability is very, very hard. Not only do we have environmental barriers, we have major attitudinal barriers in the city, in this province, in this country, and in this continent. Major attitudinal barriers. And that was actually harder for me to face than the actual physical barriers. So if there's one thing you take away from me today, let it be this. Choose to see the potential in people and refuse to talk about their limitations. Everything in life has been hard, right? So I would like to ask, has anybody here had a very easy life? Please raise your hand if you are able. No, nobody's had an easy life? Yeah, that's because everybody's life is hard. Everybody's life is hard. Everything is hard. That is the human experience. We are meant to learn lessons, we are meant to struggle, we are meant to go through adversity, and how we go through that adversity shows us our character. Shows us, did we learn those lessons? And we didn't learn those lessons? Okay, well, we're going to do this again, and again, and again, and again, until we learn those lessons. People always tell me, but Bean, how am I supposed to work out? It's so hard. How do I eat healthy? It's so hard. How do I take my medications? It's so hard. My question is always like, what's easy? Being fit is hard, being fat is hard. Being healthy is hard, being sick is hard. Being rich is hard, being poor is hard. Which hard are you going to choose? Because that's up to you, man. That shows your character. That shows how much you live with courage and bravery, which is in all of us. We are born with courage and bravery built into us. You ever see a child and how they have no fear? That's all of us. We've let the world, our houses, our churches, our schools, we've let media program us to think that life should be easy and fair, and that to tell us that we're actually not brave and courageous, we're actually scared and fearful. But we're not. Once they remove that fear, you can actually see how brave and courageous you really are. And that leads to resilience. Now, really quickly, I have to talk about this because I can't have an audience this big and not talk about it, is the medical model of disability. And this is currently where Canada is right now, in the medical model, which states the person is the problem. I was even told this by a few medical professionals. This is not my problem, this is your problem. Whereas the social model of disability states that the environment is the problem. Now it's 2025. I feel like we have moved forward in a lot of different areas, and this is one that I really think we need to move forward into. So if you are in contact with healthcare professionals, please tell them they need to switch their mindset. Now, I want to show you, I'm going to tell you a story and show you a couple of videos of one of our biggest success stories at Review. This is Anaya. He was our very first client, the OG, original gangster, as we call him. When he came to us, in his mid-30s, he ended up getting an aneurysm on his brainstem. And over the course of a few years, lost all function of his body. His brain was intact, his personality was intact in his brain, but he was unable to communicate. He was unable to speak. He could communicate. His body was locked up. All he could do was move the tip of his thumb, and he could roll his eyeballs up. And that's how he communicated with his wife. Every doctor, everybody told them, stick him in a home. He's got no life left. There's no hope for him. So when they came to us, they said, would you work with him? We say, absolutely. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're willing to try. So this video was taken in 2017. You can see how his head is down. He's unable to hold his head up. Nancy is using a resistance band to lift his arm up against gravity. We're teaching him to use the magnet needle so he has an easier way to communicate. And you can see that he has a feed tube sticking out of his shirt because he couldn't talk, couldn't swallow, nothing. Now in the next video, I want you to focus on that left arm where right now he's learning how to write, okay? So this one is 2022. Watch that left arm. Oh, snap! Did he just fix his mask? Is he sitting straight up? In 3 years, this man became fully verbal. In 4 years, he was drinking liquid water out of a straw and eating steaks. And if you know anything about swallowing assessments, those are the epitome of them. All because we believed in him. We never let him say no. We said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. We treat everybody like normal people, too. We don't provide sympathy for anybody. Nobody gets any sympathy at Review. Because I don't know about you, but do you want people feeling sorry for you for no reason? No, neither do we. We can have empathy. Empathy is welcome. Sympathy is not. So when we see what others can become, We give them permission to rise. And belief isn't taught, it's transferred. If I believe in you, you know what's going to start to happen? Is you're going to start believing in yourself. And that's one of the greatest gifts that each of us as human beings has. Each of you has the ability to do that for somebody else. And I invite you, after today, to do it. Believe in somebody. Believe in someone so hard that they can't stop but believe in themselves. Watch the magic that happens when this does. Now we talk about leadership, right? What does leadership look like? What is resilient leadership? And I love this quote. Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. Because that's what life is. Life is about falling down and getting back up. Now, as able-bodied people, how often do you fall? Quite often. I see some heads shaking, so nodding, so it's a normal part of your life that you fall down and get back up. Well, for me too. Bam! You can laugh, it's okay. This was a video that we took. We were filming in Salt Lake City. And that's why I cut out real quick because she came to run after me. And I said, no, keep filming, keep filming. I was fine. I just got my brand new shorts a little bit dirty, which I was the most upset about. But this is what resilience is. Fall, feel, rise, repeat. That's resilience. If we don't get back up, if we don't continue going on our day-to-day, that's giving up. And for me, that's never been an option. Even when I really wanted to give up, my support system never let me. And I'm really glad they did it. But I wasn't born this way. Certainly wasn't. I had to practice it every single day. I practice gratitude. Every day I wake up saying thank you for letting me open my eyes today, because every day 150,000 people don't get to. So you're here. Everybody's here in this room today. How grateful are we to be here? How grateful are we for indoor plumbing, for windshield wipers, for so many things that we take for granted? When you start being appreciative of what you have, everything around you will change. I practice positive affirmations. That's actually my alarm clock. My alarm clock is not, that's not how I do not wake up in fight or flight. I wake up to beautiful words being said about me, about the environment. And it's something simple that anybody can do. And it's a beautiful way to wake up, to start your day in a positive way. I move and fuel my body. Being a wheelchair user, it's even more important that I stand up, that I get up, that I lay down, that I stretch my body. Because if I don't, and somebody living with a lot of spasticity, I will end up with contractures. And that means I'll never be able to straighten my knee or my hip ever again. And I've seen a lot of my friends end up with this. And that's not an option for me. So I have to move and fuel my body. And most importantly, fun! We gotta have fun! If we're not having fun, what are we doing? Before I was paralyzed, the top of my priority list was money. Get money, spend money, save money, money. Then I became paralyzed. I went from making 6 figures to making $13,000 a year on CPP. That'll humble you real quick. And if it wasn't for my family, I don't know if I would even be alive today, to be quite honest. After being paralyzed, I had to rethink all of these things. I had to rethink, what is life? What are my priorities? What am I trying to do here? And what moved to the top of my priority list is fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it. And I mean, I still have to do taxes and stuff like that, which is not very fun, but you still have to do it. So I try to make it a little fun. But when you try to add fun into your everyday, you're going to smile more, your blood pressure will go down, your heart rate will start to regulate, your nervous system will start to regulate, and if you have little ones in your life, they will start to regulate because you are regulated. Fun is such a powerful thing. So the daily work is very important and it's bite-sized. So these are just a few of the things I do every single day to keep this smile on my face and to keep my positive mindset and to do it authentically. When people feel cared for, when resilience is built in, something powerful happens. We stop playing small. We start thinking bigger. We start taking smarter risks. And we create ideas that change communities. Now we've all heard how great of a company Alberta Blue Cross is. And honestly, Mark, as you were speaking, I got chills a few times. It's incredible to see what you all have built here. But by supporting your colleagues, supporting yourselves, supporting each other, by making each other feel cared for, by making each other feel safe to share, hey, I'm not feeling too well today. Hey, I might need a mental health day today. Hey, I need somebody to lift me up today. We're able to give them permission to speak up, to be honest, and to be authentically themselves. And with that, that's how we change communities. And you guys are changing communities all across Alberta. Now think of how much better you could be doing that if everybody felt supported and loved. And hopefully you do. Necessity breeds innovation. That's something I say all the time, and it does, because that's how ReU was created. We needed it, so we made it. It doesn't always have to, though. ReU was born out of this, sparking innovation and hope. That's what happens when you fuel courage and well-being with resilience. We create bold solutions that outlast us. When we feel courage and well-being and resilience, we create bold solutions that outlast us. Sorry, I just repeated myself. I was one slide ahead of myself. Now, legacy is not something we leave behind for other people. It's leaving something behind in other people. And this is another quote that I really love too. I always thought legacy was your children. I always thought that because that's how we were raised. Well, I'm 43 years old, don't have any biological children of my own, probably never will. So I had to really think, like, what is my legacy going to be? If that's not going to be it, what will it be? And it's part of this. It's part of showing people what inclusion is, how to be allies, how to be inclusive to people with disabilities, because as a person with a disability, I didn't know how to do that. It took me 13 years and lots of lessons to be able to get there. I'm so happy that I'm able to share some of these with you today. When you practice everyday inclusion, you're not just building your own resilience, you're shaping a legacy of respect, dignity, and true belonging. And that's really all any of us want, right? Respect and dignity, I talk about it all the time, because living with a spinal cord injury, you often don't get that. And I'll share a story in a minute, and you'll see why. So how can we be inclusive? Initially, I had the word ally here, and I didn't really like that, because I'm like, when you say ally, you're kind of inferring that there is an enemy, there's an adversary, but there isn't. So I just call it inclusion. First thing you can do is see people with disabilities. Look at them. Make eye contact. Crack a smile. That's all